4.38 इससे पहले वाला नहीं सुना क्या आप लोगों ने ऑनलाइन?
सुना खुद।
सुना ना? ओके 4.38 I I was talking about 4.38 you could hear? Okay, anyways,
टिल
so 4.
36।
Okay, 36. So 36, 37, then Krishna told that how if somebody will have this knowledge, no. And 38 shloka, Krishna is saying that how this is the most purest of all the knowledge, and how if somebody will have this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, then one will be able to become very blissful and happy in one's life. You know? So now let us move ahead towards the last 4 shlokas of this chapter. 39 shloka, Krishna is mentioning about the qualification to receive the transcendental knowledge. Who can get the transcendental knowledge? Who can receive the Divya Jnana? श्रद्धावा लभते ज्ञानं तत्पर संयतेन्द्रिया ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परम शांतिम अचिरेणाधिगच्छति. This is 37 shloka Krishna is telling, है ना, कालेन आत्मनि विन्दति, you know, in due course of time one will be able to what? One will be able to relish this knowledge. So it's going to happen in due course of time. But now, next shloka, Krishna is now mentioning, no, I can explain. No, 39 shloka, Krishna is mentioning about what type of persons can attain this knowledge and when. Who can miss? What is the qualification for getting this knowledge and when one will be able to get when one will be able to get those benefits. So Krishna is mentioning here, you know, Shraddhaval labhate jnanam. Right? Who can get this jnanam? Those who are Shraddhaval. Shraddhaval means those who are faithful. एंड सेकेंड इज तत्परः. तत्पर हिंदी में ना, तत्पर, किसी को पाने के लिए तत्परता चाहिए, बोलते हैं ना, तत्परता. तत्परः. तत्परः मीन्स व्हाट? वन हु इज डेडिकेटेड ना, वो एग्जाम निकालने के लिए, टॉपर बनने के लिए वो तत्पर है, बोलते हैं ना. तो तत्परः मीन्स वन हु इज डेडिकेटेड, राइट? वन हु इज डेडिकेटेड टू गेट दिस नॉलेज, राइट? ही विल बी आल्सो एबल टू गेट दिस नॉलेज. दिस सेकंड क्वालिफिकेशन. एंड थर्ड थिंग इज सम यतेन्द्रियः, ना, इंद्रिय संयम, who is sense controlled. This is third qualification. So such a person can get what? He can get this. He can get jnanam. He can get labhate jnanam. Shraddhaval, tatpara, and samyatendriya. Such a person can get the knowledge. And what will happen by getting this knowledge? Jnanam lavadva param shantim. One can attain param shanti, the supreme peace. One can attain supreme peace by getting this knowledge. And how much time it will take? Achiren adhigachati. Achiren means, you know, very soon. It's not that it's going to take a very long time. No, very soon one can get. It may take some time, but very soon one can get, you know. So this is the meaning here, is being told at how a faithful man who is dedicated to the transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So of course, Krishna is speaking about the Nishkam. Krishna is speaking about this jnana, you know, and of course, with respect to bhakti, also it is applicable, because in bhakti also we are practicing spiritual knowledge. So this is a qualification for getting the spiritual knowledge in one's life, spiritual knowledge in one's life. These three things: one has to be first of all faithful. Second thing is one has to have control of the senses, and one has to be dedicated. Dedicated means committed, which means what? What is the meaning of dedication? That one is ready to follow the process with commitment, and then at the same time one has to be also sense controlled. Then one will be able to get this knowledge. Then one will be able to have realization of this knowledge in one's life. You see some very crucial things to discuss in this particular verse. Here, here Krishna is mentioning that how one who is faithful will get the knowledge. You see, when we do our program, like when we go for device, initially what is there? We give knowledge. You get to know that, you know, how there's a soul, how there's a mastermind, symbiotic relationship. What means? What does it mean? You have some faith, you hear knowledge, your faith becomes more stronger. So the faith brings knowledge. The faith leads to knowledge, and same way the knowledge also leads to faith. You get more knowledge, you gain more faith. That's how the journey is. So that's why now you have some faith, you gain knowledge, and more knowledge you get, it leads to more increase of the faith. Right? So that's why knowledge is also very important, because more our knowledge will be, more we will be able to awaken in the faith. And you see, the spiritual journey is all about basically
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, your voice is not coming.
okay. Sorry, Prabhus. I think Wi-Fi was not coming properly. I have now connected with mobile. ठंडी है हरी
बात
बोल
ये है।
फिट है ओह, ठीक है मोबाइल नो अगेन ये बोल रहा है इंटरनेट कनेक्शन इज अनस्टेबल अच्छा नेट आता है यहाँ पे आपका भी चाहिए
Now it is Prabhu.
अभी आ रहा है प्रॉपर्ली
Yes.
ठीक है अभी आ रहा है जब नीड होगा तो करेंगे आप ओके see I was telling I think I don't know what did you learn did you heard this last point that how the nine stages of the bhakti are also basically progression of our faith
No, Prabhuji. Like we have
no
heard
bro
this faith and knowledge and
what is the
symbiotic.
last thing you heard
This faith
Prabhuji,
and knowledge are symbiotic. Like
yes.
more we have faith.
one of you please speak Randi Dev you can speak
Yes, Prabhuji. Like you were telling about more we have faith, then more knowledge we can get, and by that knowledge, more faith we will get, then more knowledge.
okay
Like this.
fine ठीक है perfect fine so this is the first thing which you heard second thing I was mentioning about this that you will find that how the spiritual journey is all about basically the increment of the faith so, it begins with Adav Shraddha then Sadhu Sangha then Bhajan Kriya basically what is happening is with each stage our faith is increasing our it's basically increasing our faith and the what is prema means the highest amount of faith where you have deep trust upon Krishna, deep trust upon the bhakti of Krishna. It's the prema stage. Spiritual life is all basically development of the faith. No? And another thing is, now faith also. There can be different levels of faith. There's a preliminary faith, there is a deeper faith. Right? Preliminary faith means that, so many people in India they think that, okay, we believe upon God. We believe that there is God. We go to the temples. But then they are not so much serious about studying the scriptures or having spiritual practice in their life. Right? So they also have a faith, but it's a very preliminary faith. Okay, na? But what is the meaning of a deeper faith? Deeper faith means we are serious to understand the knowledge. We are serious to put it in our life. We are serious to experience transformation through this process. So how much faith one is having, that will be reflected by one's activities. What kind of activities one is performing. If somebody is having a deeper faith, then he will be inspired to practice at different levels. That's how it is going to be there. So this is also important. Okay. Another aspect here we find, see, it is told. No. So the qualification is also, first thing is one has to be faithful. If one wants to get spiritual knowledge, he has to be faithful. You know? What to speak of spiritual knowledge? Any knowledge you want to get, first you have to show faith. You want to get engineering knowledge, you have to show faith upon the college, engineering college. You want to get a medical degree, you have to put faith. You want to get a music learning, you have to show the faith. Second quality is about tatparaha. Tatparaha means dedicated, committed. So any field of knowledge, if you want to get knowledge, you have to show some commitment, some dedication. Engineering degree you want to gain 4 years at least. You want to be a doctor 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 वर्षीय 10 वर्षीय योजना बहुत काफी होता है उसमें मेडिकल में तो यूपीएससी क्रैक करना है, राइट? वो भी किसी के लिए 5 वर्षीय योजना, किसी के लिए 10 वर्षीय योजना, किसी के लिए 15 वर्षीय योजना होती है कि नहीं? So one has to be dedicated, right? So same way one has to be dedicated and committed to what? Committed to following the process. The process to gain this knowledge, one has to be committed to follow the process. And samyatendriyaha. Right? Samyatendriyaha, one has to be also sense controlled. See, why it is so? Because see, if you want to get spiritual knowledge, you have to be controlled in your senses, controlled in your activities. If you are not controlled in your eating, sleeping, recreation, then you cannot have a consciousness by which you can focus upon the spiritual knowledge. Your consciousness will be very much distracted. So that's why if you want to have spiritual knowledge, you need to what? You need to regulate all your senses. You need to regulate all your sensory activities. Then you can be samyatendriya. You see, in this world, many people are trying to just academically study the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, right? And there are many people who are doing PhDs upon Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita also you'll find, right? Now, there are many academic scholars, and they will tell you about what kind of samas is there, sandhi vichhed is there, and they can tell many things. But in their personal life, you'll find they are smoking cigarettes, they are drinking tea, coffee, they don't chant Hare Krishna. Why it is so? Because even though they are studying the knowledge, but because they are not tatparaha, they are not samyatendriya, that's why it is not going to bring any transformation in their life. समझे आपको? The transformation will come when it will come when one is dedicated and one is following the regulations. If one is not following the regulations, then his study will be simply academic study. But academic study will not help much. What is required is a devotional study. What is the meaning of devotional study? The study which is aimed to, the study which has these elements of tatpara and samitindriya. That like all of us also, we are trying to understand the knowledge and we are also ready to follow the process to understand this knowledge. So then it becomes a devotional study. It leads to some transformation. Otherwise, it's going to be simply an academic study, right? So there are so many people who say that we know Gita. They're not ready to chant even one round of Hare Krishna mantra. They're not ready to follow the 480 principles. Then that will not bring any change in their life. They will not have a real taste of what Krishna consciousness is, what bhakti is, or what is the knowledge is. It's just like say cooking. Now जैसे भी हम लोग कुकिंग कर रहे हैं दिनों में कुकिंग ठीक है, कोई व्यक्ति बोले चलो कुकिंग है ना, मैं कुकिंग को एकदम अच्छे से स्टडी करूंगा, ठीक है, हाउ दिस आइटम इज बीइंग प्रिपेयर्ड, ओके, फॉर मेकिंग है ना, फॉर मेकिंग 10 liters of firni, let us say, so this much amount of suji is required, this much amount of strawberry crush is required, this much amount of sugar is required, the milk has to be heated, then so the suji has to be roasted, then suji has to be mixed, right? Now one has studied, one has made nice notes, studied, but will you be able to have an experience of what firni is? If you have to experience of what firni is, he has to taste the firni.
Taste the
then
feeling.
he will be able to have experience of that, right? The same way, just academic study will not help. One has to also follow the regulations, then that knowledge will sink in the heart. That's what Krishna means here. Am I properly audible online, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
This is the meaning, that's why Samyatindra is also very important. That Krishna is telling that, when people say that why there are so many regulations, especially when we are newcomers in devotional service, why there are so many no's, we can't eat outside, we can't see other things, we can't sport, we can't see cricket, we can't see our friends, movies. Why so many no? What to do? Krishna is telling Samitindriya, become sense controlled. Because otherwise, if the consciousness is very much distracted, then we cannot understand the knowledge. This knowledge will not sink in our hearts. This is the thing. And see what will happen if somebody will do like this, then this knowledge will, then one will have a realization of this knowledge. And by that, what will happen? Achiren adi gacchati, param achiren adi gacchati. One will be able to attain very quickly supreme peace, very great peace of mind. How it is so? Because see, till the time we are not, till the time we are not situated in the real knowledge, right? So what is the real knowledge? That we are souls, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are meant to give enjoyment to Krishna. So, see, when we are situated in this knowledge, then what happens? Amidst all kinds of difficulties, challenges, success, and the failures and all, we are always going to move towards this goal that I have to serve Krishna. Now, we'll continue with our devotional service. We will want to serve Krishna in all the situations of our life. And that will give us great happiness and joy also in our life. But see, when we don't have this knowledge, when we are not situated in this knowledge, then what happens is try to become enjoyers. And if you want to be enjoyers in this world, then there are so many parameters you have to worry about. You want to earn a lot of money, want to become the big person, then you have to work very hard. You have to compete with other people. You have to constantly have a struggle in your life. So you can never have a peace of mind. But once you are situated in this real knowledge that I'm a servant of Krishna, my only duty is to serve Krishna, give enjoyment to Krishna, and it is the way by which I can have maximum happiness, fulfillment, then what happens? Then you become supremely peaceful. That's what Krishna is mentioning it how. That very quickly one will be able to have very great peace of mind. That's this is there, no? You see one important thing here, no? When we talk about faith also, see when we talk about the faith also, see there can be, see here it is told about the knowledge, right? ज्ञान के बारे में बात हो रहा है ना? Now see एक important चीज समझने वाली. See what are the various aspects of the knowledge of Krishna consciousness? Right, in our Krishna consciousness we are getting different knowledge. You see there will be four categories of the knowledge we will come across, spiritual knowledge which will come across. First thing is, there'll be some things which will, which will strike us as very very true on the first hearing itself, right? पहली बार सुनने पे जो हमें लगेगा कि यार एकदम सही बात है ना? Like example, in our life we have experienced like many times we may have experience of many difficulties, many challenges in our life, material life, right? And when you come to Krishna consciousness, you hear that how this is a dukhalayam, ashashvatam, this is a place of miseries, right? So immediately many of us can relate, yeah, सही बात है, बहुत difficulties है यहाँ पे, right? बहुत परेशानियां हैं क्यों? So there is some knowledge which you can very quickly, which will which you can very quickly understand and accept. Okay. Then there are some knowledges which we understand, some that we understand as true after contemplation and discussion. Some things which we hear, in the shastras or from the devotees, which requires some contemplation, some discussion. थोड़ा मनन चाहिए जिसको समझने के लिए, right? For example, like, we learned that how we are not the body but the atma. The experiences of the happiness, distress, the emotions, they're not coming from the inert body, but they're coming from they're the experiences of the soul, right? So, by some contemplation, we can understand about it. It requires some contemplation, some thoughtfulness to understand this thing. So that is the second kind of knowledge which may come across, right? Then there are third kind of knowledge, some that we realize after years of practice and purification, right? कुछ चीजें ऐसी जो हमें भी समझ में नहीं आ रही हैं, but जो after purification of our hearts, practice, then we will be able to understand. For example, like Krishna's relationship with the gopis. Right? You will find, Krishna is stealing the clothes of the gopis. No, very difficult for understanding. Krishna has done Ras Leela. Krishna has called all the gopis, in the late night, and Krishna was, dancing with them, singing with them, embracing them. Right? Very difficult to understand, right? But because we are having materialistic conception of life. We see that in this world there is a male, there is a female. They also try to have such kind of thing, and it is all based upon lust. But see now in terms of Krishna, know, when Krishna is dealing with the gopis, see here we are having male and female bodies. In the spiritual world, it is not the relationship between the male and the female. It is a relationship between the Lord and the devotee. Just like Lord Ram may be embracing Lakshman, or Lord Ram may be embracing Hanumanji. So Lord Ram's embracing Hanumanji is as good as Lord's. It is as good as Krishna's embracing the gopis. That is that is a kind of transcendental relationship which is there between Krishna and the gopis. But we may not be able to understand and appreciate it immediately. But with purification of our heart, then we'll be able to understand that. The third thing, And fourth thing, see, some knowledge which we may never understand only. Something which we may not be able to understand only. It will take a lot of time for us to understand. A lot of mercy of the Lord. Right? And examples for this, for example, like if you study about the Vedic cosmology, it comes in the fifth canto. Now, the structure of the universe, what we know from our science, it is very much different from what the Vedas talk about, the Vedic cosmology, the position of the sun, the moon, and the different planets, etc. Right? So it's very difficult for one to understand that. Right now, or similarly, like many times this one question is always very hot topic, right? Why we came in this world? If everything was good there, everything was nice, then why we came into this world, right? This is also very difficult, right? Of course, there are many solid things which can be substantiated for this, but maybe doesn't fully to get full conviction is very difficult, right? Right now, so see this may also happen with us, right? Now, you see now you have to understand. See, there are some things which are very vital, and there are some things which are not so vital. Right? In any field of knowledge, if you go, there are some vital things which are very important to be known, and there are some things which are not so vital to be known. So what should be the focus? हमारा फोकस किस पे होना चाहिए? जो वाइटल चीजें हैं उस पे होना, हमारा फोकस होना ज्यादा जरूरी है. और बाकी चीजों को हम लोग चाहें तो एलिमिनेट भी कर सकते हो. जैसे देखिए, जैसे ना सपोज जैसे कोर्ट में कोई केस जाता है, कोर्ट में कोई अगर केस जाता है तो ना सपोज इफ द केस इज वेरी मच क्लियर, you have all the witnesses are there, everything is making a sense, then the judge can give a judgment about it. ठीक है भाई, ये सारे सबूत दिखाई दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, ये सही है, इसका मतलब है वो जजमेंट दे सकता है एक ना. बट मान लीजिए अगर सब चीजें बहुत क्लियर नहीं है, कुछ चीजें डाउटफुल है, क्लियर नहीं हो पा रही है, तो क्या करते हैं जज, उसको फिर क्या करा जाएगा? उसको फिर सुनवाई वापस नई डेट दिया जाएगा, राइट? फिर से थोड़ा और एविडेंस, थोड़ा और सुनवाई के लिए समय दिया जाएगा, राइट? उसे सस्पेंड किया जाता है. ओके, द कोर्ट इज सस्पेंडेड फॉर टुडे, राइट? द केस इज सस्पेंडेड, आगे उसको सुनवाई होगा. तो देखिए, जहाँ पे पूरा क्लैरिटी होता है, कुछ केस में जहाँ पूरा क्लैरिटी होता है वहां पे इमीडिएटली उसको एलिमिनेट किया जा सकता है, खत्म किया जा सकता है उस केस को. लेकिन जहाँ पे पूरा क्लैरिटी नहीं आ पा रहा है, उसको क्या किया जाता है? थोड़ा सस्पेंड किया जाता है, बात के लिए किया जाता है. तो वैसे कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में भी कुछ चीजें जो हमें अभी समझ में नहीं आ रही हैं, बट जो इतनी वाइटल नहीं है, नो प्रॉब्लम, उसको क्या करना चाहिए? सस्पेंड कर दो उसको, राइट ना? वो कार पार्क में रख दो, जैसे कार को पार्किंग में रखा जाता है ना, वैसे ही, राइट ना? और एक सही मौके पे आने पे हम लोग, है ना, by our practice we may be able to understand it, or by approaching some proper people, right? There are many devotees who are very exalted, very advanced, who have very strong knowledge also, right? Maybe we can get their association in our life sometimes, and then we can ask them, and those things may get some of those doubts may get eliminated at that point of time, right? So it should not happen that because of some of those doubts for which we are not able to understand, we should not we should not stop practicing the vital things. Because at least at least this much we are able to make out that okay, by chanting Hare Krishna, I'm able to have a better peace of mind. I'm able to have strength of character, right now. Just because I just because I don't understand the Vedic cosmology fully doesn't doesn't mean that I should stop practicing some other elements, vital elements of our life, isn't it right now? So this is how we should learn to deal with the doubts in our life. That's very important. So elimination and suspension, right? No? So those things, some things are very clear, or by some association you can eliminate those doubts. But some things, you will need to have you have to suspend it, and you have to focus upon the vital things right now. What are the vital things in our journey? We are the souls. We are suffering this world because of independent desires for enjoyment, sinful desires, and by practicing Hare Krishna mantra, practicing spiritual life, we can gain our happiness. Right? At least we have experience of this also in our life to some degrees. That should be continued in our life. It's not happen that we too much focus upon those things. ऐसा होता ही है बाकी फील्ड में भी. सपोज क्वांटम फिजिक्स आप पढ़ने जाते हो, ऐसा नहीं है कि फर्स्ट डे से आपको सब कुछ पता चल जाएगा क्वांटम फिजिक्स के बारे में. बड़े बड़े लोग जिन्होंने पीएचडी भी किया है, they have hard time to understand many of the aspects of the quantum physics. But there are some vital things, okay, at least that much you can understand. And there are some other things which you may not be able to fully understand right now. Okay, keep it in the car park. At right time you can understand. This is very important, that how we have to learn to categorize the knowledge in this way. That what are vital elements and what are side elements, right now. If you don't categorize it, then what happens? Then what will happen? Our faith will become checked and choked up, right? And then, okay, if you're too much attached to, okay, why? Only when I understand the Vedic cosmology, then I will understand, then only I will accept Krishna consciousness. Then you will not make progress at all. That's the point, right now. So we have to understand it. See, it's not that by logic and by intelligence we can understand everything. No, it depends ultimately upon the mercy of Krishna. So as we practice, then Krishna bestows understanding in our hearts. That's how it happens. So there are some central things and there are some peripheral things. Right? Central means the main things, vital things, and there are side things. Right now, so one should focus upon the central things. At least central things are clear to us, that we are suffering from the threefold miseries, four real columns. That we are souls, and by meditation, by sankirtan, by chanting, we can experience happiness. So at least this much we can So when we say that one should have a reasonable faith, it doesn't mean that we will be able to understand everything. No, reasonable faith means that there are some vital things which we can understand at least, and there are some other things which we may not be able to understand immediately. But with time we'll be able to understand that. That's the point. So, the Prabhupada also mentioned. Please read this purport. Online devotees.
Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay.
Please read this also. This is Baldev Vidya Bhushan's purport.
Yes, Prabhuji.
This section is about the Nishkam Karma Yoga. Prabhupada is translating in terms of Bhakti Yogi, as usual. Please read.
What type of persons attain this knowledge and when? One who has strong faith that this knowledge will arise with purification of the heart through Nishkam Karma, Shraddhavan. One who is steady in this performance, Tatpara, and who moreover attains control of his senses, Sayyatendriya, attains this knowledge. At that time, he attains liberation, Param Shantim.
Okay, so for Nishkam Karma Yogi, this is being mentioned. Okay, this was about who can get this knowledge. Okay, now next shloka Krishna is going to speak about who will not be able to have this knowledge. Very famous shloka. अज्ञश्च अश्रद्धानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परो न सुखम सम्यत् संशयात्मनः. So three categories Krishna is mentioning about. Na, agya, ashraddhanah, and samshayatma. Na, agya means what? Ignorant. So Pali is writing as those who are fool. A fool who has no knowledge in the standard scriptures. Right? So one who is agya. Right? Gya means gyan, janna. Agya means one who is ignorant. So one who has no knowledge of the scriptures. One who is simply like an animal. Just like the animals are simply bothered about eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Same with there is many category of the people who are simply bothered about materialistic activities, just fulfillment of their bodily necessities of life. They're called as the ignorant people or agya people. And second is ashraddhanas. Ashraddhana means what? See, without faith in the revealed scriptures. The second people who do not believe in the scriptures. They don't have shraddha upon the scriptures. And third thing is samshayatma. Samshayatma means one those who are doubtful. They know the scriptures, but then they're always having doubt whether it is right or wrong. These three categories of the people, they vinashyati. What happens is to them, they vinash. उनका विनाश हो जाता है. और क्या होता है? ना अयम लोकोस्ति ना परो. Neither in this world nor in the world beyond. है ना? न सुखम संशयात्मनः. इस लोक में भी उनका नाश होता है, परलोक में भी नाश होता है, इस लोक में भी नाश होता है, और सुख भी नहीं मिल पाता है. न लोक में सुख मिलता है ना, हमने सुना था ना, तेरा लोक गया परलोक गया, मानव तन कुछ पा ना सका, दुनिया भी तो तेरी बन ना सकी, भगवान को अपना बना ना सका. एक पोयम लिखा है किसी ने. तेरा लोक गया परलोक गया. ये वर्ल्ड में भी वो कुछ कर नहीं पाता है, और इस वर्ल्ड के बियॉन्ड भी उसको कुछ नहीं मिलता है ना. दुनिया भी बन नहीं पाती है अपनी, और भगवान भी अपने नहीं बन पाते हैं. हम बोलते हैं. देखिए यहाँ पे क्या बताया जा रहा है. हाँ, ठीक. But ignorant and the faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Okay? So see, what are these three categories? Again, means those who have no knowledge, for simply living an animalistic life. Animals are simply bothered about fulfilling the needs of the body. So again, means the people are simply bothered about fulfilling the needs of their body. In the modern times, most of the people are like of this category. Agya, simply bothered about filling their bellies. Ashraddhana means what? Those who have knowledge but they don't have any faith. अश्रद्धाना, राइट? श्रद्धा नहीं है, नॉलेज है. गीता में पता है आत्मा होती है ना, राइट? हम जैसे डिवाइस पे करते हैं, राइट? कई लोगों ने सुना, राइट? The 4 real problems of life, the miseries of the life. You heard this, right? When you give sessions also, right? People are hearing with interest. Oh, and we are having quizzes also. They are writing also. What are the real problems of life? This. And what are the threefold miseries? This. Now, if you ask them for presentation, they can give very good presentation also, right? Okay. But after some time they quit. After some time they are busy with some कॉलेज में कुछ स्पोर्ट्स हो गया, कॉलेज में कुछ एक्टिविटीज हो गया, कोई डांस में चला गया, कोई वॉलीबॉल खेलने चला गया. ये नॉलेज तो लिया, लेकिन क्या हुआ? श्रद्धा के साथ में नहीं लिया. दैट इज अश्रद्धाना, राइट? जिनको नॉलेज है, नॉलेज पता चल भी गया, लेकिन क्या है, जो श्रद्धा नहीं रखते हैं उसके ऊपर में, अश्रद्धाना. एंड देन संशयात्मा. देखिए संशयात्मा का क्या दिक्कत है, राइट? नॉलेज भी है और प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहा है. वो नॉलेज भी है और प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहा है. ठीक है, चैंटिंग करने से बहुत अच्छा है, चैंटिंग करने से बहुत फायदा होगा. तो चैंटिंग करने से हमको प्योर लव भी मिल जाएगा, राइट? प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहा है, वो नॉलेज भी है और प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहा है. लेकिन फिर भी क्या, उसको डाउट भी पता नहीं, लेकिन काम मेरे लिए काम करेगा कि नहीं करेगा. ठीक है, सुनता हूँ हरिदास ठाकुर जी ने करते थे, उनको कृष्ण मिल गया. That will be true for me or not, that they are doubtful. सुना आपको? तो ये that's the problem with it. They have knowledge, they practice also, but they are always having doubt. Let's say again and again those doubts catch them. जैसे मान लीजिए, suppose some cow is there and she is being tied with suppose a rope. Now see the cow, she is grazing in a region, and now as soon as she steps little bit outside, then what will happen? जो रस्सी बंधी है उसे वो वापस से टकराएगी, रस्सी से वापस खिंच जाएगी, right? वापस वो फिर उसी 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 में बंधी रह जाएगी। वैसे क्या डाउटफुल लोग होते हैं, बार बार वही डाउट्स, कुछ दिन किया, किसी से डिस्कशन किया, कुछ डाउट को क्लियर करने के लिए डिस्कशन किया, फिर कुछ दिन के बाद फिर से वही वाला डाउट, सेम डाउट अगेन जो आ जाता है क्योंकि वो फेथ नहीं आ रहा है उसको उस पे, राइट ना। पता नहीं, कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, सी, इफ वी विल फॉलो कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, एवरीथिंग एल्स विल बी टेकन केयर ऑफ, कृष्णा विल टेक ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ आवर लाइफ, राइट ना। मुश्किल है इसको उस पर फेथ पुट कर पाना, राइट। अगेन कुछ दिनों के बाद में वापस हमको वापस समझना पड़ता है, राइट, बार बार डाउट हो जाता है। तो इट्स असंशय आत्मा, राइट, जिनको नॉलेज भी है, प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये फेथ नहीं है कि ये able to gain knowledge in this, they will not be able to gain this transcendental knowledge, and without this knowledge they can have never, they can have no peace of mind, and they can have no happiness either in this world or in the next world. Okay, let us see Prabhupada's translation, Prabhupada's purport. I think before that let us just read, uh, yeah, can someone read this Vishnu Chandra Thakur's commentary?
Having spoken of a person who was qualified with knowledge, in this verse, Krishna speaks of the person without qualification for knowledge. That person perishes, who is ignorant like an animal, or who, through knowing the scriptures, does not believe in anything because of seeing the arguments between various factions, Ashratadana, or who, through even having faith, is afflicted with doubt whether he can attain the goal. Among these persons, ignorant, faithless, and doubting, the doubting one is especially criticized in the last line.
देखिए भाई, इन्होंने कैसे डिफाइन किया है, ignorant means just like an animal. The second thing is, you know, who knows the scriptures but does not believe in anything. Why do not believe? Because of seeing the arguments between various factions. अरे वहां तो लोग तो ऐसा बोलते हैं, ये लोग तो वैसा बोलते हैं, ऐसा, राइट ना। तो उसको श्रद्धा क्यों नहीं आता है पूरा, बहुत श्रद्धा क्यों नहीं हो पा रहा है, क्योंकि क्या है, उसने इधर से बहुत इधर की चीजें बहुत सुन रखी है, तो श्रद्धा नहीं हो पाती उसको। और तीसरा कैटेगरी क्या है, who though even having faith is afflicted with doubt whether he can attain the goal. नॉलेज है उसको, थोड़ा बहुत फेथ भी है, तभी तो वो प्रैक्टिस कर रहा है ना, right? जैसे वॉइस ड्यूटी हो गया, राइट, नॉलेज है, फेथ भी आया है, थोड़ा सा तो आया है, राइट ना। लेकिन क्या होता है, डाउट्स उसको हॉन्ट करते रहते हैं, राइट ना। तो इसमें भी स्पेशली तीसरा जो कैटेगरी है जो डाउटफुल है, उसका क्या होगा, स्पेशली उसको ज्यादा क्रिटिसाइज किया गया, क्योंकि उसको कोई सुख नहीं मिलेगा, है ना। इन लोगों को नहीं मिलेगा, बट इसमें, क्योंकि देखो शुरू के जो दो लोग होते हैं, अज्ञा और अश्रद्धाना होते हैं, ठीक है, उनको स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में इतना, लेकिन तीसरा वाला जो क्या है, ना घर का ना तो स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में उसको पूरा, क्योंकि फेथ के साथ प्रैक्टिस one should therefore follow in the footsteps of the great acharya who in the disciplic succession, but conclude कर रहे हैं, no, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation, right? तो जो doubtful लोग हैं, जो बार बार इन डाउट्स पे फंसे रहते हैं, वो लोग आगे प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर पाएंगे। मेन थिंग इज दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू मेक एनी प्रोग्रेस। अगेन सेम डाउट्स पे अगर वो लोग बने रहेंगे, तो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी क्लियर अवर डाउट्स, दैट विल हैपन, it is not going to happen simply by discussions and some knowledge. What will require is our practice also, our sincerity. If you don't have a sincerity in the heart, you see, ये यथा प्रपद्य if we have sincerity in our heart, which means what? We are sincere to understand the goal of life. We are sincere to make a solution to the problems of our life. If somebody is not having sincerity, when we have, so when we have sincerity, sincerity means what? We are serious about spiritual life. Then Krishna will give us a clear intelligence about everything, you know. Acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. We have to follow the footsteps of the great souls. Then we can get rid of all the doubts and can make spiritual progress in our life. ये बलदेव विद्याभूषण में लिखे, इसको पढ़ो जरा परपट, ये इसको थोड़ा elaborate करते हैं. Please read. Any of you?
Having spoken of the person who was qualified with knowledge, in this verse, Krishna speaks of the person without qualification for knowledge. That
No,
person
no,
perishes.
this one.
who is
That was there is Vishwanath Chandra
Okay.
Thakur ने पढ़ लिया already.
Having described those qualified for knowledge and the results, the Lord now describes the unqualified person and the result for that person. The ignorant person, like an animal with no knowledge of his scriptures, or the person who, in spite of having knowledge of his scriptures, have no faith, since he has a quarrelsome nature, or the person who, in spite of having faith, doubts if he can attain the perfection. This person is destroyed.
This means
This means this means he deviates from his own interest. Among these persons, the one who doubts is especially criticized. This doubtful person does not have happiness from the gross world or the next world. Happiness is generated from actions prescribed by scriptures. That action is accompanied by knowledge of this individual Atma. Where is that happiness for one who has doubts about attaining the goal?
yes. It is explaining, see, the same categories. Ignorant people, like an animal, with no knowledge of the scriptures, is the Agya. Then Ashadhanam is the person who, in spite of having knowledge of scriptures, has no faith. Why? Because since he has a quarrelsome nature, faith नहीं है उसको. किससे रिलेटेड है, quarrelsome nature से कैसे रिलेटेड है ये? जो भी इससे पहले उन्होंने जो बताया कि बहुत सारे कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस उसने देखे इधर से, तो भी उसको श्रद्धा नहीं आ पाती है. Third thing is a person who, in spite of having faith, doubts if he can attain the perfection. He is doubting कि मुझे मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा perfection of life. So even the one with doubts is especially criticized because he does not have happiness from the gross world or the next world. Happiness कैसे आता है? By the actions which is, if somebody performs actions given by the Shastras. These people will not be able to have this. This is the thing which Krishna is mentioning. Now next shloka. Just see if I have not missed it. Next shloka now. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibhadnati dhananjaya. So now Krishna is again urging Arjuna for performing his duty of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Listening? Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchin samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibhadnati dhananjaya. One who his action and whose doubts have been destroyed by the transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of the work or conqueror of the races. So, no, there is a technique. Actions do not bind the person who has renounced all the actions to the Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, Krishna is explaining that how, if you will perform your duty without attachment to the results, without caring for the result, that's a Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then what will happen? Then they will not bind you. Right now, you're thinking that by doing this war, you're going to get reactions, you're going to get bound, but no, it will not happen. If you will do what? Yoga sanyasta karmana. No. If you will perform these activities as a yoga, as Nishkam Karma Yoga, who has then cut all doubts to the Gyan Yoga, right? Yoga Sanchinna, Samshaya, जिनके खत्म हो चुके हैं. By performance of this Nishkam Karma Yoga, Gyan will come and will be free from all kinds of doubts. And who has then attained directly the realization of the Atma. बता रहे कि basically telling that you perform this Nishkam Karma Yoga, you perform this, you perform your duty with detachment, you perform this war with detachment. That's what Krishna is saying. If, please read the purport. Prabhupada's purport. Please read.
One who follows the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of Godhead Himself becomes free from all doubts by the grace of transcendental knowledge. He, as a part and parcel of the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, is already established in self knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above bondage of action.
Prabhupada is mentioning that how if somebody will follow the instructions, then what will happen? One will become free from all the doubts. How it will happen? By the grace of transcendental knowledge, by the grace of Krishna. One thing I wanted to discuss. आया नहीं क्या? Let me see that. Okay, just one important thing here. Na? So see, one important thing more. You see, faith, na, is faith a matter of choice or is it a matter of grace? What do you say? तो फेथ है हमारा, फेथ क्या चॉइस पे डिपेंडेंट है, हमारी चॉइस से फेथ आता है या फिर इट इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द मर्सी ऑफ द लॉर्ड?
Mercy of the Lord, Prabhuji.
द मर्सी ऑफ द लॉर्ड, ठीक है. एनीवन एल्स? You will find,
Both.
you will find there is both are required. You know, there's a need of both. It is a matter of our choice also, and it is also a matter of Krishna's grace, the Lord's grace. You know, how it is a matter of our choice? You see, we are making a choice constantly, right? If we want to grow our faith, we will have one set of actions. If we want to diminish our faith, we will have another set of actions. Right? For example, like now, suppose you know you want to you go to the internet and you put ISKCON controversies in ISKCON, right? And you get a list of some 100 items, 10 items, right? ना ISKCON में इस जगह पे ऐसा हो गया था, ISKCON में हिस्ट्री में ऐसा में यहाँ पे हो गया था, ये जो महाराज सिंह का ये फॉल डाउन हो गया था, राइट? ये क्या है? ये क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग? अपने फेथ को लूज करने का काम कर रहे हैं, राइट ना? तो हमारा चॉइस है कि नहीं, राइट? वी आर मेकिंग अ चॉइस. हम क्या देखना चाहते हैं, राइट? So see, there are so many things which we can see about ISKCON. Right? And see, in internet, all the more anyone can write anything about ISKCON. What is the problem? Anyone can do. This is a material world. People are not here. They are not desiring to be Krishna conscious. So that's right. And on the contrary, if you want to grow your faith, then what you will do? You will go ask some devotees, see their experience. Even if you have some genuine doubts, you'll ask them. You will ask the qualified devotees. Like if you want to know about the Vedic culture, we have a devotee, scientist devotee, who has written a book about the Vedic cosmology. If you are scientific oriented, you want to know about Darwin's theory, whether it is scientific or not, there's a book, Forbidden Archaeology, by one of our devotees. He has done research properly. So we are also making a see, means what kind of activities we are performing, that is also going to decide whether we are going to have faith or not. Right now, if we chant, if we associate with the devotees, study the Shastras, that will help us to increase our faith. But if we want to perform some other kind of activities, they may diminish our faith. So faith is a matter of both our actions, our activities, or our choices, as well as the mercy of the Lord. Both things are together made. It's not one-sided. Ultimately, it's the mercy of the Lord. Our actions also are mattering a lot. Right? If we are sincere seekers, then we have to perform right activities for increasing our faith. So here again, Krishna is again urging that how Krishna, see, till now Krishna has spoken to him about the transcendental knowledge. So now Krishna is telling that, see, you perform now yoga. You perform your duty as a yoga, as a Nishkam Karma yoga. You don't you perform it with a detachment. If you're going to perform with detachment, then your fighting this war will also not, will also not give you any karma, any reactions. That's what he's telling you. Last shloka. Now Krishna is concluding. Tasmad ajnana sambhutam hetastham jnanasinatmanah chitvenam samshayam yogam atishtotishtha bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with the yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So Krishna is telling that how whatever doubts have come in your heart, Arjuna is having these doubts. See, इससे पहले अभी कृष्ण ने बोला कि become a sannyasi. Now Arjuna is thinking sannyasi, and Krishna is telling have a peace of mind. I'm supposed to have a peace of mind. I'm going to have a sannyas, and Krishna is also telling me to fight. Krishna is getting a little confused. So Arjuna is getting confused. So Krishna is saying that get rid of all these doubts by the ज्ञान. जो ज्ञान आपको मैंने बताया, इससे अपने सारे जो डाउट्स है उसको कट कर दो. and armed with this yoga. What is this? Tasmat ajnana sambhutam. Sambhutam means what? Born of the ignorance. अज्ञान के कारण जो सारा तुम्हारे संशय जो हुए हैं, the samshayas which are born because of the ignorance, you cut off all of them. How? By the jnana, by the knowledge. And chitvenam, छिद्यंती होता है ना, छिद्यंती सर्व संशय, खत्म कर दो इन डाउट्स को. एंड अतिष्ठो तिष्ठ भारत, राइट है ना, स्टैंड एंड फाइट, लड़ाई करो, ऐसा भगवान उनको बता रहे हैं, बाय द वेपन ऑफ द नॉलेज. प्रभुपाद थोड़ा समराइज कर रहे हैं पूरे चैप्टर को, तो लेट अस जस्ट रीड दिस वन कमेंट्री. या प्लीज रीड दिस विश्वनाथ चक्र ठाकुर's commentary.
These verse concludes the topic, cutting the doubt situated in the heart. Taking shelter of Niskam Karma Yoga, rise up in order to fight the battle. Having spoken of the various means of liberation, Jnana is praised in this chapter. But the means of Jnana is the means to Jnana is karma, that has been pointed out in this chapter. Thus, the commentaries on the fourth chapter of the Gita for the pleasure of the devotees mind have been completed following after the acharyas.
So see, again, Krishna, the mention is about Krishna is telling him to do the Nishkam Karma Yoga, no? And how that what will it lead to? It will lead to the Jnana. It will give him the transcendental realization. So this is how the acting. So Prabhupada is summarizing the whole chapter. I think this also we can just read. We have 15 minutes. Please read summary of this chapter. Prabhupada is summarizing it.
The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two division of sacrificial actions. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not doubted for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord, and such understanding is beneficial for such a person can easily understand the transcend the beginning of this chapter. The transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord himself. One who does not understand the instructions of Gita is faithless and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifices to the demigods, sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, in household life, in controlling the senses, in practicing mystic yoga, in penance, in foregoing material possession, in studying the Vedas, and in partaking the social institution called Varnashram Dharma. All of these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action. But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad Gita. But one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal, and does does not deviate at all from the instruction of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to the sun God, from whom the instruction of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of Bhagavad Gita.
This is like a summary of this chapter. No? We were having one question in hold that was about the sacrifices, no? About yagya. Right? I think Radhidev's question was there. The Prabhupada is also again bringing out here how Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifices to demigods, Vedas and all, and following of the Varnashram Dharma. All these are known as a sacrifice, and all of them are based on the regulated action. Right? So I also had some study, but a little bit more I had talked with a devotee today. But in general, mostly what is the yagya is only those activities which are mentioned in the Shastras. They will be like considered as a yagya. Right? So still I will confirm it more next time when we'll meet about it. But at a bigger level, what I could till yesterday, what I could understand properly is that most of the activities, only those activities which are mentioned in the Shastras, if you perform them, then they can be called as a sacrifice. But some other activities where there may be some sort of sacrifice may be there, but if it is not mentioned in the Shastras, that may not constitute the sacrifice. Okay, so today I am having the discussion with a devotee, then I will clear about it. We are done with this chapter. Thank you so much. We have some questions we can discuss, otherwise, notice can feel free to continue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. I think others too, I heard one of the devotees comment was there in WhatsApp that we have to upload these lectures quickly. Maybe if you can take a target to do it every week, whatever lectures have happened, then devotees can be in the sync with what is going on. Even if they miss something, that will be very helpful for all of them.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Any questions related to what we discussed today? Yeah, Surya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, my question was like you were telling that faith is a matter of choice. You were asking that question, right? Faith is a matter of choice or a grace of Lord. So in that case, you told that we have that is the both cases there. So my question is like we have understood that we have our choices to make so that we have like the faith is a matter of choice also the grace of God. So one part is understood that faith is a matter of choice, but the other part like how we can understand that like we are trying to explain to somebody who is not very faithful, and he also because he understood this thing that faith is a matter of choice only. You don't understand this, there is a grace of God to be faithful. So how can we tell that person that the faith is like there is a grace of God to Lord to. So like this was my question for you.
Okay, so आपका question ये है mainly कि how to make one understand that how faith is also a matter of grace, not only a matter of choice. This is your question, right?
Yes, project, right.
Of course, again, it will require faith. Okay. It will depend upon whether the person is ready to put faith upon you or not. So, you can tell, let's say, what I'm going to speak to you right now, you will be able to understand only if you have some faith, right? So, of course, and of course, see, whether you're going to accept it or not, that will not simply depend upon my explanation to you, but it will also depend upon your disposition. So, what is the factor? Mercy is involved in that way also. How to make it understand, See, there are many things which many people are following, but now other person may not be inspired to follow. Then what is it? What it is? There are many logical things. There are many logical scientific things which many people are ready to accept and follow. But then there are other people who are not ready to accept and follow. So then what's the difference? Some difference is there right now. What is that difference? The difference is because of the Paramatma. Right? Based upon the sincerity of the individual, the Paramatma is inspiring different people differently to accept. The same logical scientific things one person is accepting, other person is not accepting. Why? Because if one is having a sincerity of the heart, one desires spiritual life, then Paramatma will help him to understand. So this is for our understanding as a devotees. And for a new person, I don't know, we'll have to think about it, how to make him understand. Any of you want to share any example to for this, what is asking? How can a new person be told about how there is the mercy of the Lord required for understanding, for having a faith on something? Okay, we'll think about it, है ना? Any other question? ऐसे क्वेश्चंस का बेस्ट क्या रहता है ना, कुछ अगर आप कुछ एग्जांपल से आप इसको समझ आ सकते हो तो वो बेस्ट रहता है क्लिक करने के लिए. थोड़ा एग्जांपल सोचना पड़ेगा, फिटिंग एग्जांपल. एनीथिंग एल्स प्रभु?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, मेरा प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रभु. यहाँ
प्रभु जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था, ये निष्काम कर्म योगा के बारे में था प्रभु जी मेरा क्वेश्चन, कि निष्काम कर्म योगा में प्रभु जी हमको फल के बारे में नहीं सोचना होता है क्या? जैसे कुछ फल आ रहा है तो हमको उसके बारे में सोचना ही नहीं है, कुछ भी आया जाए। बिकॉज वी सी इन द डिवोटी सर्कल ऑल्सो प्रभु जी दैट सम प्रोग्राम वी आर गोइंग टू डू, जैसे कुछ भी कैंप करते हैं, एक्सप्रेशन करते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारे अल्टरनेटिव प्लान्स बनाते हैं हम कि ऐसा ही रिजल्ट आना चाहिए, अदरवाइज तो दिक्कत हो जाएगा। तो फिर तो हम तो फल के बारे में सोच रहे हैं ना प्रभु जी, क्योंकि फल तो कुछ भी आ सकता है, फिर तो अल्टरनेटिव प्लान क्यों बना रहे हैं? फिर भगवान के ऊपर एक ही प्लान बनाते हैं फिर, और उसके बाद में जो भी आता है उसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, भगवान को ऑफर करते हैं उसको। तो फिर और रिजल्ट्स के बेसिस पे ही हम डिसाइड करते हैं कि हमने अपना 100% दिया है कि नहीं दिया है। अगर रिजल्ट खराब आता है तो हम सोचते हैं कि हमारा एक्शन में कुछ कमी है। तो फिर इसको कैसे समझना है गुरु जी की फल की चिंता भी नहीं करनी और जो भी आता है उसको भगवान को देना है, और लाइक दैट।
ऐसे देखो, जब निष्काम कर्म योगा की बात की जा रही है ना, निष्काम कर्म योगा के लेवल पर क्या है व्यक्ति का ना, निष्काम कर्म योगा मीन्स क्या है, ही इज नॉट डिजायरिंग फ्रूट्स फॉर हिज सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन. मतलब one has given up the tendency to perform actions for sense gratification, then it calls the nishkam karma yoga. Generally, a person does some karma, some activities for what? For gaining some results for sense gratification. But when one gives up the desires for sense gratification and performs actions as a matter of duty, then it is called as a nishkam karma yoga. Okay, this is about nishkam karma yoga. Now, when we are talking about bhakti yoga, so here, no, see, because bhakti yoga is the highest, it is also having this component that we perform some activity as a matter of duty, and but without any desire for sense gratification. But this is not all in all. In the path of the bhakti, we desire sense gratification for Krishna. We desire results for Krishna. That becomes like Yashoda Maya is desiring to feed Krishna. No, it matters to Yashoda Maya that Krishna should get the best of the milk, best of the curd, best of the yogurt. She cannot think that let me be Nishkam, let Krishna gets whatever kind of things. Okay, whatever kind of butter may be offered to Krishna doesn't matter at all. No. For the sake of Krishna, she wants to offer the best one. The same way, in the bhakti, we are desiring results, fruits, but it's not for our sense gratification. We desire best results, good results for what purpose? For Krishna's sense gratification. Krishna will be pleased, right? If more people will be coming to his shelter, Krishna will be pleased, acharyas will be pleased. So that's the difference. So bhakti yoga means we desire the results, but for Krishna's satisfaction, and also we are not attached to. Now, suppose we have done our best part. Now, as whatever authorities have told us, as per that we have tried our best, and then whatever is coming, we accept it as a mercy of Krishna. We accept it as a will of Krishna. So we are not too much bothered up with our head. We can do some exercise that okay, maybe this is something which where we could have done our part and all, but we are not so much attached to getting results because we know that Krishna is in the ultimate control. What is our success? Our success is if we have tried to please our authorities. If we have tried to please our authorities, they have told to do certain things, we have tried to do it in the best possible manner. And if they are satisfied with us, then whatever results are coming, we are happy about it because we accept it as the will of Krishna. If some less results come or more results come, everything is happening by the will of Krishna. So this is a difference. In the Bhakti Yoga, it's not that we don't desire results and all, but we are desiring, we plan for the best results, but for the satisfaction of Krishna. and we are not attached to getting those results. If they don't come, if it is not the will of Krishna, we are still happy and we will continue to put further efforts. That's how we do it. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anything else?
हरे कृष्णा ब्रोजी धनुषनाथ
Yes.
ब्रोजी एक क्वेश्चन यस
Vishwas, we are sitting in your voice.
अरे इट्स नॉट माय वॉइस ब्रोजी वो आपके ग्रेस से
Yes, please.
तो जी एक मेरा ये क्वेश्चन था कभी कभी हमारा जो माइंड होता है वो हमें चीट करता है इट चीट्स अस बाय गिविंग अस द लॉजिक दैट वी आर डूइंग समथिंग फॉर द सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन ऑफ कृष्णा while we are actually doing that for ourselves only लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कुछ लाइक ऑफरिंग वगैरह करना होता है भगवान के लिए तो अभी सबसे अच्छा कुछ ऑफरिंग करना है तो मतलब अभी हो सकता है कि जो मेरा जो सबसे फेवरेट हो वो हम ऑफर करें क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि वो मुझे सबसे अच्छा लगता है तो भगवान को भी सबसे अच्छा लगता होगा तो लेट्स ऑफर इट सो दैट गॉड विल आल्सो लाइक इट कृष्णा विल आल्सो लाइक इट लेकिन मतलब अभी कैसे डिस्टिंग्विश करें कि ये एक्चुअली हम भगवान के लिए कर रहे हैं हमारे लिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि
देखिए, जब हम एकदम प्यूरिफाइड होंगे ना, तभी हम ऐसा what we call as a pure devotional service, na, pure desire only to serve and satisfy Krishna. That is a very high level. It's a very highest level. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyana vitam anukulena krishnanushinna bhaktitam. That one simply desires to do things for satisfaction of Krishna only. That will happen in a very advanced stage when we become a pure devotee. A pure devotee has no tinge of sense gratification. He has only desire to please and serve Krishna. But at our level, as a sadhaka level, we have some desires for sense gratification. Right now, we are, even when we are offering up bhoga, there is some component in our mind that today we are going to have a good prasad, right? that, that
yes
thing is there
Praji.
in our minds, right now. So no problem. No, we have to see. No, we don't have to feel. See, one thing I forgot last time in our discussion, see, in our stage of bhakti, we have to be more focusing upon Krishna and Krishna consciousness rather than focusing upon our weaknesses, because these weaknesses will be there in our life because we are sadhakas, no? So yes, now even some nice bhoga is being cooked, let us say, and you like some item very very much, and you have also some desire for sense gratification for it. Okay, understand that's our level, But how we can rise above it? More we will practice very nicely, sincerely. We'll try to learn the right attitudes. With time, the purification will happen, and slowly we'll find that we will lose taste for sense gratification. That is going to happen, Immediately, we may not be able to do that. So but we have to positively focus upon the good things in Krishna consciousness, what things we are able to do. By having more and more purification, what will happen? Eventually, we will develop a distaste for sense gratification. Just like now, we are not so much bothered about the movies, we are not so much bothered about the sports, we are not so much bothered about the cricket, right? We have lost taste for it. Why? Because we have got some taste in bhakti. Same way as we'll grow more and more in our bhakti, then with more taste, slowly, more of a stronger tendencies for sense gratification will go away. That's how it will happen. Okay.
Prabhuji, one follow-up question I have कि अगर
हाँ
if someone is addicted to watching cricket, for
हाँ
example, let's take example of that. So अगर वो ऐसा करता है कि भगवान का एक छोटा सा लाइक एक फोटो ले जाता है साथ में और स्टेडियम में वो कहता है आज आपको दिखाऊंगा ये देखो कितना अच्छा है भगवान और फिर वो मतलब वो ऐसा अपने माइंड में सोचता है कि मैं तो भगवान को दिखाने के लिए लाया हूँ और मैं तो साइड से मतलब मैं थोड़ी देखने आया हूँ मैं तो भगवान को दिखाने so he is also a kind of doing for the sense gratification of the Krishna only. So is
yes.
that a right
It is
attitude?
sense gratification. It is not pure bhakti. It is sense gratification. Right now, that's why. What is pure bhakti? Something which is anushilanam, something which is being, which is coming from the acharyas, which is being sanctioned by the acharyas. That becomes a Shuddha bhakti. Krishnanu Anushīlanam is should be following of the acharya, right? So in this case, the whimsical behavior, चलो मुझे क्रिकेट पसंद है, कृष्णा को भी साथ में ले जाते हैं दिखाने के लिए. ये whimsical behavior होगा. किसी आचार्य ने इसके लिए बोला है, ऑथराइज किया है क्या? नहीं किया ना.
Thank you.
इसलिए आचार्य को फॉलो करना बहुत जरूरी है. जो भी एक्शन है उसको हमें देखना है कि the action should be blessed by the some authority. If some authority has blessed our actions, then it becomes a part of the bhakti. If it is not blessed by the acharyas or by the shastras, then it is not bhakti. That's the main thing. ठीक है ना?
Thank you.
But some desired sense gratification will be there in our life. See, ultimately, it's not that spiritual life means boring life, पूरा कागज जिंदगी, No, we are meant to enjoy with Krishna in the spiritual world. Spiritual life का मतलब ये नहीं है कि बस रूखा सूखा रहना, तपस्या करना नहीं है. Our constitutional position is to what? To enjoy with Krishna. So no problem. Krishna can be offered nice prasad. Hoga. You can also take nice prasad.
So what Prabhuji, what I can understand, it is a matter of like taking guidance whenever we are getting confused in any specific activity.
Spiritual life is a matter of guidance. We discussed na tad vidhi pranipatena paripashnena sevaya. Right? It's all about guidance.
Yes.
Guidance. Guidance. Guidance means following Krishna's representative in our life. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course, there are some clear-cut activities which we know from the Shastras, from the devotees we have already done. But there are some things where we may have a difficulty to understand. Whenever you have some question whether it is right or not, should I ask someone? Ask. As simple as that. Always ask. That's the best. That's the best. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ask with a competent authority. Okay. Okay. Was there anything else?